So we are joined now outside the conference room. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is Kmentt, President of the Meeting of States Parties. Congratulations to your election as chair of this conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us and squeezing this in your very busy schedule. So along with the congrats, I want to ask you about the role of Austria in the adoption of this treaty that also led to you being the chair of the first meeting.
Well, of course, now I'm the chair of the meeting, so I shouldn't really be speaking about Austria. But of course, after the humanitarian conference in 2014, we issued the Austrian pledge, which later became the humanitarian pledge, which paved the way for the negotiations. And together with a group of countries, the core group countries, I think we were instrumental in getting the negotiations to a successful conclusion.
And what are your expectations now for the MSP?
They're high, I would say, of course. I think I'm extremely encouraged by the really substantive contributions that states are making. So that is great. I think with the humanitarian and risk focus, we've given a lot more things, a lot more states arguments to speak about nuclear weapons. So the expectations is that we very clearly demonstrate that this is a serious treaty that is based on extremely profound arguments, that we will refocus on the humanitarian consequences and risks. I think we've demonstrated also the openness of the TPNW, and that we will, through this seriousness, that some of the antagonism against the treaty will fall away.
And of course, nuclear weapons have been back in the headlines lately with threats issued by Russia and the general security situation deteriorating. So it's also a very timely conference to be talking about these issues.
It's extremely timely to talk about these issues. I think it's of course very disconcerting that nuclear weapons are so high back on the agenda. Lots of people are really worried about what's going to happen, but unfortunately that's the case. And I think it very clearly underscores what we see, the fragility and the precariousness of a nuclear deterrence-based security architecture. And I think it very clearly makes the case that we need to change the paradigm and focus on the humanitarian consequences and risks. Of course, is the best way of trying to have a different conversation and move away from this nuclear theory paradigm.
And one last question before we let you go. Over the weekend, ICANN organized the Nuclear Ban Forum. You, on Monday, as the Austrian government, also organized the Humanitarian Impact Conference. There's a lot of conferences around this that come together as Nuclear Ban Week. Are we managing, as we try to bring together all of these communities, to convey that enthusiasm and that spirit also to the negotiations in the MSP?
I'm so in the middle of it that it's very hard for me to say. But my feeling is yes, because I also see really interesting and intensive media interest. I think that's very good. And it's of course because of the backdrop against which this is taking place that this is very topical, and media follows that, of course. But also within the participants of all those meetings, I think there's an energy, there's a sense of urgency, and there's a sense of responsibility that really, for all of us now, this is such a crucial issue. We have to do something about it. So I hope my impression is right, but I think yes.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on the good work. That was the President of the Meeting of States Parties of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, Ambassador Kmentt. Thank you for joining us.